Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy! Today we have Sassafras. That is just fun to say, isn't it? Sassafras. Sassy Sassafras. I love it. Never turned it before. This comes to us from viewer Robert Keys. Piece is a little bit wet. I measured it at about 18% moisture content. Around here, 10% is generally about the best we can expect. The piece is 8 1/4 inches long, about 7 inches wide, and a little over 4 inches tall. I love the bark on this, and I love that knot hole there. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep it, maybe a portion of it. It's going to be a live edge piece, so the bark, this part, is going to be the top. I'm going to go take this to my drill press, cut a clearance hole, drill a hole for my woodworm screw, get it mounted up. We'll get to turning this Sassy Sassafras. I'm going to work on this corner first. I'm going to start from the top down in an attempt to keep this bark on. The lathe is going to be spinning at 475 RPM because of course it's out of balance. I'm going to wear a glove, mask, and face shield on. Robert provided a picture of a bowl that he had turned out of this wood, and it was just beautiful. So I'm hoping for the same here. This wood has a pretty pungent, I don't know if it's sweet smell. Kind of smells like something you'd smell around someone that has a cold, but I don't mean that in a negative way. It smells kind of good, kind of sweet, but it still smells like medicine. I'll tell you what, the wood is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Robert did say I would need a sharp chisel, and of course I always sharpen my chisels before I start, and I did, but I feel like I need to go sharpen it again. So, I will. Well, I'm kind of happy with the shape that I have here. So I'm going to work on the bottom, see if that'll help bring it into balance. Plus I need to work on it anyway. I'll come back to this side because it's just rough cuts on there. But I want to kind of see where we are. So work on the bottom, put a tenon on here, and go back to the side and finish that up. We'll mark the tenon. I'm going to use this diamond point tool to square up the sides of the tenon. That's good. Okay, now the base here is way too wide, so I want to work on this corner again and then smooth out my cuts. I'm kind of thinking about dipping this corner in, kind of a little pedestal, I guess. Not much of one, maybe from here to here, something like that. Ooh, boy, that smells. I don't know if that looks good or not, but that's what we have. You know, I think we're done. For better or for worse. Time for sanding. I'm going to start with my Sandoflex. I'm going to sand all of the bark on top here that I can reach. So I'm going to start at 180 grit for that. Actually, I'm going to start and stop at 180 grit on the bark. Then when that's done, I'll switch to my 2-inch disc sander with 80 grit disc on it. And I'll sand all of the outside. And I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. Oh, that's going to be pretty. You can see this orange right here. Everything I'm doing on top now of the bark is turning orange, getting the dirt and crud off of there. That's going to be cool looking. So I'll do a little bit more of that. And then with the lathe spinning in reverse at about 320. So this is what I'm going to be doing for a while. And I'll bring you back when it's time to put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. What do you think of that orange bark? Isn't that cool looking? Once that bark is all finished up, it's going to be such a great contrast. And then this area here is nice. So it looks like I'll be putting on 2 coats of this sanding sealer. It's shellac based sanding sealer called Zinsser Seal Coat. Comes ready to use out of the can. I don't do anything to it. And then I'll put on 2 coats of shellac. And I'll bring you back when it's time to start working on the inside. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping to find some really cool grain and features in there. So see you in a bit. I've got a real nice finish on the outside of this piece. I'm really pleased with it. This is that hole I was telling you about earlier. And if I stick my screwdriver in there, it's about that deep. About 1.25 inches, something like that, 1.5 inches maybe even. Since it's up so high, I don't think it's going to really be an issue. The worst that could happen is it'll be a nice place to shake your M&Ms out of, I guess. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'd like to keep this bump. It's a nice feature, but that would make the bowl tiny with a huge top edge, and that's just no good. So we're going to lose this bump, at least most of it. The piece is still out of balance, so I can only turn it about 600 RPM with a 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. I think we're going to stop there. There's so many different, you know, this is kind of medium. This is really thin. This is really wide. depending on where you look at it. I think I see something shiny in there, probably some crittered eyeball looking back at me. Boy, wouldn't that be something if some snake came crawling out of there. Yes, it would, Phil. It would be something. Actually, I'm going to poke around in there and see what that is. Well, now it went falling somewhere. Yeah, there's a lot of dead wood in there. Huh. Oh, I need to get in here a little closer if I can. Let's see if I can pick the speed up any. Some, about 650, 660. I'm gonna go sharpen up. Well, you can see I've done a little digging here. There's quite a bit of decay, bugs I suppose, although I wouldn't think they'd love that odor. But I think we're gonna cut, I don't see anything like that on the outside, so I think we're gonna cut it all away, or at least most of it. It really is giving off an odor, but it's not unpleasant. Okay, I've sharpened up my gouge, we'll get back at it. Ooh. It does go back in there. Make sure I'm not going to go through the side of the bowl. I really wasn't looking to make an undercut bowl, but that's kind of what we're making now. Dang, that's just not what I was expecting. There is some discoloring on the outside, kind of a gray color that corresponds with that. Well, I got to get rid of more of this middle so I can get in close. I'm gonna go sharpen again, geez. All right, let's see if we can get this done. Well, I think we're just about there. Well, we're okay. We're about 3/8 of an inch, I guess. Not what I had in mind for this piece. Yeah, I just sharpened this one. Now I'm gonna go sharpen my other one. Oh, and see what's happening? Shoot. because I'm working over here, now I'm cutting this away. That's a bummer. We'll make it work. But I am going to sharpen up my smaller gouge. I'll be right back. That one felt good. Woo! A 1/4 inch out there, and I'm not sure I've got it all. Not quite. Dang it, Robert, what'd you get me into here, bud? I will say that on the outside over here, there is some, well, I already said there's discoloring, but there's also some of that same stuff, I guess, on the outside. I don't know what to call it. Holes out here. They're not holes all the way through, but they're depressions where the wood had been spoiled by whatever. And when I applied the shellac and the sanding sealer, it hardened those soft spots up, and that's what we have right here is a soft spot. I guess I need to try and smooth that out a little bit and call it good, and hope that the shellac on the inside will do the same as it did on the outside. So I'm going to grab a scraper. We're done. Time for sanding. I'm going to use a variety of sanding tools on this piece. I'm going to start with my 180 grit Sandoflex, and I'm going to sand from the inside out to catch this edge, to soften it because it's kind of sharp in places. I'm also going to use, and I'm not going to go into a lot about these, but I'm going to try these two sanders. I used them in my last video and I gave information about them, and you can look at that one if you want to. You can get these at tuffymarginez.com. I want you to know that the manufacturer named the sanders and the website after Tuffy Marginez, one of our viewers, my friend. It's not Tuffy's website. They simply asked to use his name, and I guess he must have granted it. So I'll show you those, and I'll also be using my old standby 2-inch disc sander. I'm going to start at 80 grit and work up through 400, and I'll show you all of that as soon as I get my mask on. So that's what that looks like. And the 2-inch disc with the lathe spinning forward at about E50. Whoa. See, that's what, there's so many little things here that can catch this disc. That's why I thought I'd try these other ones. So let me get one mounted up here. That'll probably do a pretty good job for me. And then there's this one. Now this happens to be 400 grit, so I don't expect it to do much, but I haven't had the opportunity to try it yet. Well, that actually does a pretty nice job around the sides here. It won't do the bottom. The other one will do the bottom. I get nothing for telling you about these sanders. Zero. Nothing. But if you think they are helpful to you, tuffymartinez.com. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing for a while, and I'll bring you back when it's time to put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. I said this was 18% moisture content. What I was doing was picking through woods trying to find one to turn today, and I was measuring the moisture content. I think I didn't measure this one, and I got this one confused with another one that I measured that was 18. This has to be 40-50% moisture content. It's not now that it's turned and sanded and had the heater pointed at it, but I think it was when I started. And there's all this decay in the wood, and it tore rather than cut, so this is not my best effort. And I hate to let you down like that. This is so decayed in this area, it actually goes into the wood down that way, and I'm going to have to brush into that. The rag won't reach it. And this was hard to sand, and I did use all the sanding tools available to me. The only good part about this is the sanding sealer, and then the shellac really hardens up this decayed wood. It's more than just punky, it's rotten. But I had some of that on the outside as well, just opposite this right here, as a matter of fact. And it got quite hard out there, so I know it'll work. It still has some pretty grain to it, and I really like the bark, the color of the bark. It's exceptional. First 2 coats of sanding sealer, and then 2 coats of shellac, and I'll bring you back here in a little bit when it's time to take that tenon off. See you in a bit. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck. I'm going to put a non-slip cloth over that and bring up the bowl and bring up the tailstock. I still have my center hole there for reference. Bring up my tool rest, spin the piece up, see if it looks like it's running true. Pretty dang close, good enough. I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch standard grind bowl gouge, turn the speed up to about 520, and begin to removing the tenon. We'll check for clearance. We have good clearance. I don't have to remove the whole tenon. I like to leave this center part raised a little bit when I can. It just adds some visual interest. Now it's pretty small, so I want to slow the speed down to around 400 RPM and just keep working it away. Now I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge so that I can get in there closer. Now I'm going to slow the speed down to about 200 RPM, and I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. Right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch, and when the little nub stops turning, we'll know we're through. Like that. Now I'll just take this over here to the workbench, sand it up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Well, here it is, one Sassafras live edge bowl in the books. I like that. I like that quite a bit. And I love the bark, the color. And the shape is okay. It's not the best, but maybe it's all I could do with this piece, I'm not sure. I had to turn away more of the wood than I wanted to, which cost me right here across this bark. The bark was all the way up here, but because I had to cut away so much of the bad wood in this area that brought me down to that level. So it's just what it is. It's okay. It's you know, it's a pretty wood. Lots to see. Even that, you know, that's rotten wood. Well, it's not anymore, but it was. Even that looks nice to me. And the inside of that part, that looks nice. And this is pretty cool over here, right up this way. What do you think? Let me know. Thank you to Robert for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I read all of them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.